everyone. Thanks for joining us for this session, Building Multimodal GenAI Apps. My name is Anna. I'm an event planner for Reactor, joining you from Redmond, Washington. Before we start, I have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Keep an eye on that chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our presenters to answer. This session is being recorded. It will be available to view on demand within 24 to 48 hours. With that, I'll turn it over to our presenters. Corey, Saseo, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Hello. Thanks, everyone. And welcome to the Building Multimodal Gen AI Apps. So we're building the future of applications, but unfortunately, my internet seems to be in the past. So I apologize for any lag from my video. But hi, my name's Corey, and I'm going to be joined by Rosayo. How are you, Rosayo?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you.
Perfect. Well, Rosayo, this is, I don't know if anyone knows it in the viewing, but this is going to be a part of our Generative AI Hackathon that's we're currently been hosting for, I guess, like almost a month now. But there's still some time left to join. So there'll be a link joining on if you want to actually build something with generative AI, or in the case of multimodal Gen AI applications, how does that work? So that's what we're going to walk through this workshop. But before we get into it, I always like to see what people are building, what they're doing. So I want to know if you are part of the hackathon or you are wanting to build something with generative AI, what are you building? So just throw that in the chat. And while we wait for any good responses, Fasaya, what would you build if you were a part of this generative AI application? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
No, good question, actually. I'm just thinking now. So probably I'll build an application for deciding where people to go for vacation. Summer is coming now. So like a summer decider, where should we go for summer this year?
That's good. That's a tough question. I have a family, so now I'm just like always searching family friendly place, hotel, restaurant, whatever, flight, whatever. So it's like I'm very limited on the vacation options, or maybe self-limiting for sure. I tell you, I'll give you some tips to the chat. This is like a golden thing that I will always build because everyone will always use it. Is a sock sorting AI application. So like finding lost socks.
That's very important.
It's important. We're going to talk about multimodal and vision applications, so it's also really relevant. And I mean, even now with all the GPT-4 stuff out there, it's highly possible. So if you're looking for ideas, struggling, sock sort app.
I guess to pass the toothbrush test.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I see some people. So Arlie Peter has they're building helpers for healthcare clinics. So that's good. Always I see hackathons with some good cause, like some impact, what we call it. Not just sock sorting and vacations. It's much. We can do much more. Cool, great. So thank you. Let us know if what you're building. We'll throw it up here. We'll have a chat about it. But Fasayo, I hear you're going to walk us through how we can actually build multimodal applications. So let's see how this is done.
Yeah, awesome. So I'll start by talking briefly about building multimodal Gen AI app using GPT-4 Turbo with Vision on the Microsoft AI Studio. So let's start with what is GPT-4 Turbo, also known as GPT-4 Turbo with Vision. It's a multimodal model that's capable of taking both text and image input and generate your desired text output. So I'm going to go to the studio now and show you some examples here. So now I'm on the Azure AI Studio. And to get started, I'm going to go through the build multimodal into your app link here. And it takes me to this guide here where we have provided like step-by-step instruction of how you can get started to doing this. we have some prerequisites here you need to follow. And once you've done that, one of the key steps here, you need to deploy the right model. Once you deploy the right model, and you go into your playground, and you can start asking questions or doing things that align with your use case. So one of the things, or one of the tricks or things I typically advise people to do is this: before you get started in building any of these applications, it's very important for you to identify the exact work or job you want the model to do. It's good for you to define the role you want the model to play in your specific use case, or what problem you want it to address itself. So for example, here I have this image here, and I'm asking like a very basic question saying, describe this image here. So GPT-4 Turbo with Vision is a general model, meaning it can perform different tasks unlike the smaller models we had before now. So if you see, it's able to give me like a verbose description of what this image is here. So next, I'm going to be more specific now. So I'm assuming I'm building an application for vacation package company, and I'm asking GPT-4 Turbo with Vision to assume the persona here of an AI assistant that generates content for this vacation company now. So based on that, I'm now asking it now to generate exciting content based on this image I have provided, the same image I provided for the description use case I just showed. So if you notice something, the output here is different from the output it provided before, because I've now defined that specific task I want it to perform. I'm telling it the scenario I want it to look at. So I'm like, okay, this is how you can enchant and get people to actually buy this package to come to this particular landmark, as the case may be, compared to the description I got here when it just gave me like a basic description of what it could see in the image. But now it was able to target the details here to suit the audience for this vacation package company here. So I think one of the things to note here, going back to what I was saying here before, is that you need, for your specific use case, if you're trying to leverage this model, it's good if you define the role you want it to play for your specific scenario here, and specify the exact action you want it. So in this case, I wanted to generate content that I can use for this package. Next, I'm going to look at another example here.
Quick question on the roles before you hop on. I mean, this is so everyone knows. I mean, the system message, again, this is kind of where you're defining all these roles and rules. What have you seen to be like most effective in terms of roles? Is it like actually a job, position title, seniority? What have you seen, I guess, from like the benefits of defining this role and getting the best results for it?
So that's an excellent question. What I've seen is it depends on your specific use case. So you want it to assume that persona. So let me give an example. If you're trying to do like a detection use case or a defect detection use case now, you can just describe the fact that you are going to be identifying the difference or the defect within the particular images I'll be giving to you. So I think when it comes to system message, you can use like roles like assistant, as the case may be. And in some cases, you don't need to use even assistant. Just tell it the job to be done here is to detect the differences between this image, or the job to be done here is to spot the difference or to generate poems. So you can be as direct as possible. The key thing is you need to understand the output you are looking for. What job do you want it to do? And you need to be very specific on that. If you're very verbose and you provide too much details and you're not specific, you might not get the desired output you're looking for, or more like the most optimal output you're looking to get.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just going to ask you. I mean, to the point of being verbose, right? I mean, we have this text box, and people get excited about how big the text box is in the system message. Like, what would you recommend the length being in terms of, or a format that maybe people can follow in the system message, that instead of them just adding out all the details that they think might be important, but maybe the model doesn't pick up on.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to the input, so and you're asking about the input text. When it comes to the input text here, I always say one thing: it depends on the job to be done. In some cases, my input here might be like a book and I want it to summarize. In that case, I need to provide as much text context as possible. If I want to provide a specific instruction, just think about the first set of words you put in your instructions are very important, because those are the first things is prioritizing. So I would say prioritize the first set of words you're putting, but for when it comes to instruction, the fewer and the more direct it is, the better. So let's think about this. When you come think about this model, these models are mimicking humans. And imagine if I come and I give you 12 instructions at once versus if I give you a crisp instruction at once. How you interpret them vary. The first set of instruction, you might pay more attention to those ones before you get down to those ones. So I think at the end of the day, it depends on the specific use case. There's not a one size for fit all for all of this. You need to be very specific. You need to experiment and check which suits your specific job. So the job to be done will determine the type of system message you provide, the type of text or input prompt you provide. It all depends on that. So I always advise it's best to experiment on different types and see which one gives you the optimal result for your specific use case.
Yeah, I like that point about experimentation, right? I don't think uh, people like. I haven't seen anyone like go walk up to a large language model and just get the perfect result the first time. And if
Mhm.
they do, right, it's still that you probably need to iterate over it when you find other use cases or how users will interact with the model. So I think like experimentation, everyone should be really comfortable with, and I think that's a really great point that you made there.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm going to call out second thing. Another thing to note here is that in part of going back to your question, part of the things you need to provide in your input prompt is the type of output you're expecting. So if you do not care about the type of output, you can leave it open. But if you want the output to be in a specific format, specific length, you need to specify that as part of the instruction you're giving to the model. So in this case here, I have this image here and this text prompt. But if you notice, I've actually asked it to assume a different persona now. So I'm assuming now that is an expert at evaluating cars damages from car accident for auto insurance reporting. And if you notice here, I'm telling it it's going to file the incident report. I want it to be in JSON format. And if you look at the last statement I have here, I'm telling it that if it cannot determine the answer based on the image, I want it to put it as NA. So I don't want it to give me its best guess here. I don't want it to give me an appropriate. I just want it to use just the information it can see on this image to give me the desired output here, following the format I have provided to it here. And when I do that here, I get the result. So if you notice, it's following the format I've asked it to follow in this case here. So I'm just going to recap what I just said now. So key things we need to consider when you want to start building this application, leveraging this Gen AI model, G4 Troubled Vision is this. You need to define the role you want the model to play. You need to specify the scenario or the problem you're looking to address, and also specify the action you want it to take. So going back to this input, I've noticed if you use verbs in describing the action like generate, describe, or if you use those specific like verbs, you get the action, the result you want better. Also, if you have a desired output format, you need to specify it and it will provide that structure you want it to. So I will stop here now and I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I think what's a really good point about the verbs. Um, have you found, and this is something I've seen or researched about, or seen the research about, but even giving when we talk about model instructions, something around either saying do something versus do not do something.
Mhm.
What the effectiveness is like, do not give me a placeholder if you don't know that, or do give me a placeholder.
Mhm.
Have you seen that being even more effective either way?
So do not or do. So what I've seen is this. If so, let's start with if you do not ask it not to, it's just going to give you its best prediction, as the case may be. If you ask it not to, do not, it answers. So if you notice in this example I just showed here, I asked it here that if you cannot determine this, put NA. If I didn't put NA, if I say if you cannot determine this, leave it blank or don't give me a response, it will answer me. So I found that if you tell it not to, what to do and what not to do, it's able to understand what you have, the instruction you're giving to it, and provide your desired behavior.
Got it. Got it. We got a really, I'm not going to say spicy, but very important question. Because we talked about the system message and determining the rules.
Mm.
So Arlie has asked really around, is there any way for users to sort of bypass these rules and give instructions that maybe it's assume a different personality or a different rule set? And this is most commonly known as like prompt injection, or going over the rules that we're setting for application.
So asking if you can inject the prompt along with your inputs to bypass what has been set is
Exactly.
so what we're trying, ideally, we do not want you to do that. So that's one of the reasons why we've put some safeguards here to prevent people from doing that. Because at times you might have bad actors trying to ingest like wrong things here now. So it's something we try and prevent.
Got it. And I guess in details, then, like, if a user wanted to say, what is your system message, or um, did only go like you're not a helpful assistant now, and we're only going to want, the format in table format and not, or HTML format, but not JSON format. Um, how do you prevent that type of user interaction?
So you're saying when you build your application and you have put in this particular system message in your application, when you give it to your customers, how do you prevent them from changing the system message? Is that a question?
Yeah, or the model presenting in a different format, or overriding the system message.
So the system message here, so as if you notice here, I started with no system message. So it's possible for you to start and not have any system message. And when I came to the next example, I provided system message. So by the time you build your app, the end user do not have access to the system message because you've already built the app. So it's just the result or the output of the app is what you can leverage, which follows the instructions you have already provided to it. So they will not be able to bypass the system message to which you have already defined when you built the application. So basically, the rules and logic you have put will follow in your app once you build it with the settings.
Got it. Cool. I mean, one of the points Sunset Ninja had made in terms of the newer models being maybe more resistant, at least in terms of the prompt vulnerabilities that some applications have seen, in terms of users trying to bypass system rules or things like that, for sure. And cool. So actually, going to this, I would love to like use this as a real example since we have some time left as well. I always butcher all these names. Van Givgv. They're building a web-based avatar, which is like using front desk clerks, like providing information, schedule meetings, leave messages for team members. Maybe we can like see how we maybe want to design a system message for this use case. I don't know if can you see that what's on the screen there, so we can kind
Okay,
of.
I can see that now. Building okay, I can see that now. So yes, so one of the things to look at is this. For this, there are a couple of tasks you want it to do. Can you flash it again, or let me find it?
Can we put that up there again?
Yeah. So you want it to provide information, schedule meetings, and leave messages for members. So you need in the system message, you need to define this task you want it to perform. Then you need to provide the format in which you want it. So provide information is very vague. What information do you want? What do you want the information provided to include? So you can then scheduling meetings, leaving message. So yes, so we can start with let's go back here as a so
We're doing this live. This is not rehearsed, so let's see how we can get on.
So I'm gonna assume this is a customer agent. So we're going to tell it now that as a customer agent for X company, I'm using, instead of using the name here, provide X information and schedule. I'm going to assume we're providing information about company promotion. About company promotion, leave a message for the team and schedule the assistant. And schedule meeting. So I'm saying as a customer agent for company X, when customer call, provide information about latest promotion, then leave message for the team and schedule meeting. So if I provide this, I need to ask if I have and I can define the promotion here, latest promotion.
Maybe even also suggesting like the message format, leaving a message like who's being contact. Yeah, something like that could be a good.
Yeah. Latest promotion 245 deal. Message. Message is contact customer X Y back. And I think we're missing something. Schedule the meeting here. So for schedule the meeting here, it's just going to be reminder to schedule meeting. Okay, now so we're going to assume that we're done with, we received the agent just finished talking to someone and they put in these details here.
Nice. I was gonna say that you're gonna make me the customer, but I appreciate it.
Cool. So it's telling me customer officer called today about the latest promotion, inform them about the 2 for 5 deal, show them contact Visaya back regarding the promotion detail, blah blah blah. So what I've seen in real life application is that most customers actually have this template as part of the system message with word for word what they should put, such that when they click like customer officer call, they can populate all of this and they feed it into their pipeline and they can actually get, we call it the first draft, because when it comes to these things, we don't want to send a message directly to the end user. You want someone to look at it before you click send when you're sending things out of your company. So it has that first draft, and if you need to make a tweak, you can make the tweak, and you can just send it if it's okay, as the case may be.
Nice, very well done for on the spot for sure. And now John, who now I know I'll have to butcher their name. Is saying that they're also trying to implement this with using AutoGen, which is like an agent framework made by the Microsoft research team. I don't think we have any integrations directly within AI Studio now, but there is an AutoGen Studio that also kind of helps managing the agents. I don't know if I saw. Have you seen anything directly within Azure AI Studio? No.
I haven't, but one thing to say is if it's not in the studios and they have like the API service, depending on your workflow, if you can feed, for example, let me give an example here. You can take the output from GPT-3 here and feed it to AutoGen or vice versa here. So it depends on what exactly you're trying to achieve. But if we don't have it on the studio, you can leverage other tools like Prompt Flow, or they call the API directly, and decide how you want them to integrate together.
Yeah, I mean, so they mentioned also that they're trying to integrate tools for like scheduling the appointments. But I mean, I'm not going to be the product consultant here, but maybe you could, like you said, do what you're integrating with the tool itself, and you're getting this response in JSON format that makes sense to whatever API tool that you're using, and or even like a function calling type thing, and get that response in a good way that you could just send it into scheduling. So maybe you don't necessarily need an agent per se, but would love to see how you get on with that for sure. We had some questions around maybe not necessarily content filtering, but like how we sort of addressing any jailbreaking attempts, things like that. So maybe I don't know if you're prepared to show anything around the content filters, or how maybe we can manage the interaction between the user and the model itself or the assistant.
So can you rephrase that? You said, maybe I didn't quite, the line was kind of choppy. So can you say that again?
Yeah, sorry. There's some questions just around like what was earlier about handling jailbreaking attempts, or just any settings that they can make to prevent anything like that.
So yeah, so out of the box today, that's one of the things we do. We don't just offer this. We pride ourselves in providing responsible products where we've already thought about the jailbreaks and we already have content filters that prevent this from happening. And we're actively updating and modifying this content filter to ensure that the applications our customers build are safe and responsible. So we have this already in place, and it's something we'll continue to optimize to ensure it's it's the best our customers have at each point in time.
Very nice. Yeah, and it's nice to see maybe people are thinking beyond a hackathon project and into real world. So trying to address all the use cases, making your application secure, a major thing for sure. So we have a question: is it possible to develop the chatbot and deploy it to MS Teams, Microsoft Teams from here?
So is it possible to deploy the chatbot and deploy it to Microsoft Teams from here? So to my understanding, and maybe some of my colleagues might know, I don't think we have an integration into Teams where we deploy the chatbot into Teams today. Or maybe I'm missing something along that line.
Yeah, I haven't seen it directly from the Azure AI Studio. We obviously have things, our platform where you can data chatbot that would integrate or basically build a Teams bot, I guess, but not directly from the Azure AI Studio. But that's definitely possible to build a chatbot that would work within Microsoft Teams. Okay, so and one other question has how do we implement responsible AI principles?
Good question. How do we implement them? So one of the things we do is this. Microsoft as a company, we're very transparent. We tell you what we do. In addition to that, before we actually provide this model, we actually test them out to identify any harms that they may have and provide mitigation for each of them before we actually ship them or provide them to our customers, at the case of maybe. And that's where we have those content filters, where we have identified to provide those content filters, those things to prevent jailbreak from these models, ensuring that the results you get are responsible and that things are ethical, that as we expect it to be in line with our responsible AI policies.
Great. Yeah, so that's good. And we also have like the responsible AI dashboard, which is kind of integrate with here. We're not going to show all of that. I don't think you're prepared for myself for showing all of that, but it's a thing to look at and monitor in terms of model performance. Which maybe we could drop a link in the chat after to some of that material or content if you're very much interested, which is a good thing to see. Arlie has wrote another question. So if we have a model that is connected to a database, would the model be able to reject questions regarding other clients? So, like, say they have access to that database, but not to another client, and they want to ask about client A, but not client B.
So if we have a model connected to a database, so our client, so our services are single tenant. So we do not combine two different clients' data together. So if you understand, so it's not, if you're asking question about client A, it has to be client A. You can ask about client B because it's single tenant. It's everything about a particular subscription. It's tied to that subscription. So you can start going to a second database.
Yeah, and I mean, I maybe Arlie, you can explain more about where you're thinking in terms of maybe if you're trying to do some sort of RAG architecture or it's kind of like a chat with your data kind of thing. But you have to know a little bit more about what you're trying to do because to the point, right? The databases aren't connected per se, so I'm not sure how that you would implement that on the model side for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. Guna has asked, do you know the reason for Azure OpenAI's version? This is very specific. The latest Turbo 2024. You can see the question there. Doesn't support JSON mode or function calling.
Yeah, so excellent question. So it doesn't support it at this point in time, but we're getting it out to customers ASAP. So we decided to bring it to provide a GA model immediately to customers now, so you can start using it and moving your production model. But this functionality for JSON mode and function calling will be made available shortly to customers too.
So coming soon,
Yes.
TM trademark.
Yeah.
Great question. So John, I'm just calling him John now. Also asking about RAG, which is interesting, but what's the easiest way to implement that? And so obviously, what the question was around either using Cosmos DB as a vector database. So if you are using that for sure, or is there any higher level abstractions like RAG as a service?
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think if you go to the data in the AI Studio, maybe this could be where you can point that to either uh, body of data or a blob storage or a vector database, and that will probably give you some of the RAG experience that's kind of abstracted away, not connecting directly to a database. So I think it just really depends, John, on the amount of data that you're using and where it's stored. But within the Azure AI Studio, you can work with data, whether that's uh, you know uh, PDF or blob store, Azure Blob Storage, or a database as well. So I would probably look into that, the data component that you see there on the FISO screen. And then if you do want to use something like Cosmos DB, that makes probably the most sense as well. Cool. So Senior has asked, and this is a question that we get a lot. So Faisal, I'm going to let you answer this one too. It's about the corporate email right now. So they want to get access to Azure OpenAI, and it seems like they don't have a corporate email.
So that's an excellent question here. I think we have so what response did you get? I know you can provide that now. If you don't have a corporate email, you probably need to still follow the same process we have asked here for you to be able to be added onto Azure OpenAI at this point in time.
Got it. Hope that answers your question, Sinu. Shri has asked, so you showed the playground. So this is the playground in Azure AI Studio for anyone who hasn't seen this experience first. And they want to know if they can create a fully functional chat application using the playground.
If you can, yeah. So once you've done this now, you can take the code here and move to your own area and implement it there. So yes, you can do that today.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and maybe show the view code, I think that's a great way to show how you can kind of get started really quick.
Let me see. Let me do that. But let's see.
Just click the view code button, I think.
No, yes, I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm just careful because of my Azure secrets. That's all I'm just thinking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Yeah.
So that's why. Yeah. Well, basically, if you go to the view code, yeah, you click on it, you can see it. You can see your code and you can run it in your own environment and implement it in your application directly.
Great. So yeah, not a necessary way you can definitely, once you've tested and used the playground, kind of build an application, but you can't build it directly in the playground. That's what kind of makes it the playground experience. So. Okay. And John has also asked, is Azure Search a substitute for RAG? How do you research this? So a lot of RAG based.
Yeah, it's just one of them.
Yeah, so yeah, Azure, it's not a replacement, it's a service that you can use with RAG. And actually, using it in combination of RAG, it will probably get you some better results in the way that it sort of does handle searching. So I would definitely look into that too. Okay. I don't know if we have any other questions we could take up. A lot of talk about how to register a company and stuff to get your access. So we'll leave that to you to decide on what's the best way there. Oh yeah, there was some questions around. Actually, thank you, Guna, for reminding me. If there's any samples, so I know you showed the docs page now on with the motor accident. But if there's any other samples of multimodal implementations that maybe people can see.
Yeah, so I can. Let me try and send. Let's send the link. So we have. If you go to the link here, we have. If you open it, we have some GitHub samples here where you can actually see some other examples of how to build multimodal models here.
And we'll drop that link in the chat once you.
Okay, so I'm putting that here. So we have some samples here.
Cool. So yeah, we have the RAG example. So that was pretty good. No, RAG images, and then even a video one I've seen as well. That's pretty good. And question on the demo, Sunset Ninja has asked, what is the two models being used in the demo, and what is their output?
What are the two models used in the demo?
Yeah.
In the same, it's the GPT-4 Turbo with Vision model. It's the same model used across.
Yeah, it's just one model, Sunset Ninja. There's no two models for implementing that. And the output you can see on the in the chat there. So on the as you typed or the example that we just showed it, maybe if I said you could scroll up on the input or the output window. So yeah, that's the output from the model itself.
Mhm.
We're trying to get clarification on the question.
Oh, for multiple models. What's
It's not a multi-model, a multimodal.
okay? I get.
Yeah.
I can expand there. When we say multi,
He got it. They got it. They got it.
okay.
A model. But maybe you could clarify for everyone too.
Yeah. So it's basically, if you, it's what we're trying to say, that it doesn't only take a particular modality, a particular data type. It takes both like image input and text input. So it has two modalities here. So the modalities here is where we have like the multimodals, because taking text and image input. Yes.
So yeah, this is maybe a nice call, a request, and maybe we should do a multi-model Gen AI apps, which I'm a big fan as well. So, Senza Ninja, whenever I do that workshop, I will make sure to give you a shout out because that's a really good one.
Mhm.
Yeah, if we can get the link in the chat, maybe if you can get the GitHub repo.
Okay,
I said
so
if you could throw that in the StreamYard there.
okay, I'm doing that now.
Perfect. So now you see the examples, which is a great way, good examples to get started on what's possible with multimodal Gen AI applications. There's a few ones either doing video, RAG, and things like that. So, and the image thing that we kind of demoed to you there. Okay, so like you said, this is a part of the Generative AI Hackathon, which if you happen to join the stream and you don't know what that's about, we'll also throw a link down below, finding all the information on that hackathon. I think you still have some time, not all the time, because it's been going on or been in progress for some time. But yeah, you saw what you can do with multimodal applications in terms of vision and specifically on the type of use cases in the GitHub. So hopefully you can get building if you just joined the hackathon, and if you are already part of the hackathon, good luck everyone in terms of what you're building. I saw some great ideas that we shared. But Faisal, thanks for the demo.
Thank you too.
Perfect. And like I always say to my streams, you could have been anywhere on the internet right now, but you spent 45 minutes with us. So I'm truly appreciative of that. And if you do have any questions about the hackathon, um, signing up, credits, building something, technical questions, you can join our AI Discord. There's going to be a link in there as well on that main page where I'll be there answering any questions in terms of that or the team that's organizing this as well. Great. Well, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Thanks to Fazeo and Corey. If you have any feedback, we'd love to hear anything you have to say. Find the link on the screen. Our event code today is 22599. Thanks.